My name is David Orozco. I'm from Greeley, Colorado. I was born in California, a little town called Simi Valley, but I moved when I was about yay tall, so I consider Colorado my home.
Tell us a little about getting into triathlons and maybe what drew you to triathlons.
Yeah, I think that the day in, day out monotony of work, maybe go to the gym, go home, sleep, and rinse and repeat, every day of the week with no personal goals of your own, kind of sparked a necessity to do something outside of my regular day-to-day life. And I decided to go on a run. And I hadn't run since middle school. So that went terrible and my legs were sore for days afterwards. And then when I couldn't run because my calves and my knees were so sore, I was like, well, maybe I'll hop on a bike. So I hopped on a bike, and that was great. And then I couldn't bike anymore because my quads and my butt was really sore from the saddle. So I was like, okay, so I can't run and I can't bike, but I've got to do something. So I decided maybe I'll hop in the pool. I don't know how to swim, but how hard could it be? And I thought, okay, run, bike, swim. That sounds like a triathlon. I don't know anybody who's done a triathlon. I don't know anything about triathlons, but let's sign up for one that's 10 weeks out from today. And that's how I got started.
Let's go, David! Come on, David! Woo!
I think it was that first triathlon that really set the ball moving. Triathlons were something that I had no concept of, and I never participated in endurance sports. And it was something that I genuinely thought that I could not achieve. I thought maybe I'll drown in this lake. Maybe I'll get a cramp or crash my bike or have a heart attack, because I was still new to everything. I couldn't run a mile when I started, couldn't swim one length of a pool when I started, wasn't familiar with bikes at all. So I think that the motivation at the beginning was just to see if I could, and then I did. And then once I did do that, the motivations for the subsequent ones is I know that I could achieve anything now after that first one. So let's tack on the next challenge. Learning how to swim is definitely important. Getting comfortable in the water, when to take your breath, that was the biggest hurdle for me. It took me a little while before I was comfortable swimming, let alone in open water. And when it comes to the other land sports, gradually increasing your mileage is always great. My biggest advice for people doing really anything, but I know we're talking about endurance sports here, is that whatever task you have, let's say it's a 3-mile run and your longest run ever was back in high school where you ran 2 laps around a track, is to believe that those miles, they're already completed and the memory of it is gonna come sooner than you think. I think that's the best way to tackle tough situations, is that there'll be memories soon enough and you'll feel accomplished afterwards. To motivate yourself, it's mostly because you told yourself, let's say the Monday up, right? You set out your training plan for the week. And let's say you get to Wednesday and your legs are sore from the first 2 workouts and you still got 3 more days of training. You got home late from work, it's cold outside, you got bad sleep, you wake up in the morning, you're staring at your shoes for 15 minutes before you even put them on. On those days, it's important to remind yourself that you're making a promise to yourself, and you did say that you were going to go on this run this morning. And a big thing that I think is that if I lie to myself and I don't do this, because nobody's going to know whether or not you trained, it's just you, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. But if you can rely on yourself, then other people can also rely on you. When you tell people, oh, I'm going to go on a run tomorrow morning, and you don't go on a run tomorrow morning, then your credibility for yourself and for other people kind of goes down a little bit. So it's about being credible to yourself and knowing that if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. It takes some practice though. It does. I skipped a couple in my time here and there, but when you do, you look back and you beat yourself up. You're like, man, it really wasn't gonna be that hard. I should have just done it anyways.
Ain't looking good, dude.
Yeah, I think my philosophy has kind of shifted as I progressed through my endurance journey. At the beginning, it was to challenge myself and to see what I could do, because the human body's capable of so many incredible things, and it can go a lot further than you think. And then once you realize that concept, it translates to anything else in life. So let's say, your job pushed up the timeline and you have to work overtime, right? That's a difficult thing to overcome. But you think, well, this morning I ran 6 and I didn't want to run 6 miles. So relatively, things get easier across your entire life because you're used to some of the discomfort. And that's kind of how it started. And I still carry that philosophy. And another thing that I've learned is that when you're active and you're able to do things, you can share those with the people that you love.
Yes, David!
Okay, we're ready to get rolling.
Awesome.
Any jokes you want to tell as we get started?
Probably about these glasses, these race glasses that will probably slow me down if anything, but they make me feel good, so that's all that matters. Ooh, another snake.
Oh, don't come after me. Thanks for watching another episode of Wreck Yourself. I'm your host, James Gould. I'm Professor of Tourism Management at the University of Northern Colorado. I hope we've inspired you to explore. And of course, feel free to check out the links below for specific information on recreation resources, our guests, and our partners. Also, be sure to hit like and subscribe. Until we see you next time, be sure to wreck yourself.
Right now, I run a restaurant downtown with my father. So about 10 days out from the race, June 8th, we've got a bad rainstorm and there is no drainage on both of our streets, and those happen to be the worst flooded streets in Greeley, and our basement was the path of least resistance, so we got about 40 inches of rainwater, and we're still under construction trying to figure out what our next steps are.